The impulses are sales techniques that you will use the rest of your life, in marketing and in sales and in dating and in anything. Anytime you want to motivate someone, and I don't want to say anytime you want to control someone because that's not what you're doing, but anytime you want to say things in a way that helps you guide people and that helps people respond to you a little more positively. And it does work with dating. And you'll see what I mean as we talk about it. But these are important to learn, right? And you'll use these the rest of your life. So let's first talk about fear of loss. And this is the one I'm sure you guys are all familiar with. You get these all the time, especially in emails. Like you get some email from somebody selling something, right? Um, and it's like, well, uh, there's only 11 left. Like I got some new shoes the other day. They're called barefoot shoes. They literally are the most comfortable shoes I've ever owned. But and they kind of look like gym shoes, but they're really thin shoes. They're called barefoot shoes, supposedly to make it feel like you're barefoot. And um, they got a special going now, buy one, get two pairs free. So yesterday they had a fourth for the 4th of July, right? The big US holiday. So I got an email the other day. We're starting our buy one, get two pairs free special. And then, yesterday morning, last day, or I guess was yesterday, 2 days ago, last day for the buy one, get two free. Um, and then, of course, later yesterday, I got another email. We've extended it another day for those of you that missed out, right? But fear of loss is the sales strategy of making someone think if they don't take action, they're going to lose something. And I'm sure you guys are totally familiar with this. You see it, like I said, you see it all the time in ads, in emails, in sales letters, sales videos. Um, and it's like you got to take action or you're going to miss out, right? The special price ends today. There's only 12 of these left. And, by the time I'm done with this chat, there's only going to be 10 of them left or something like that. And that's fear of loss. And the technique, now that I want you to try to look for it more as you're looking at ads, um, as you're reading sales emails, as you're reading sales letters, and that type of thing. Um, Try to think about these things and try to spot them. I mean, and I'm sure you've seen them and you know what they are, but you'll be better at sales for the rest of your life if you start to spot these and use them. And I won't say copy, but you kind of model the way you talk, the way you write after some of these strategies and techniques. So fear loss is the first one. It's in a certain way making people feel that if they don't take action, if they don't click, if they don't buy, if they don't join your group or whatever it is, that they're going to lose something, right? A good way to do it with us, is like for us, like for the free websites, right? Nowadays, and this is 100% accurate, nowadays people are talking about search AI search, right? How do we get found by the AI search engines? When I ask ChatGPT a question, when I ask Claude, Perplexity, or any of these other chats, Google Gemini, when I ask them a question, how do I get them to talk about my company? Like, let's use a gutter cleaning company. When someone says, how much does it cost to get my gutters cleaned? If you own a gutter cleaning company, you want ChatGPT to say, well, we've done some research and Joe's gutter company charges $79, right? So we can use that, selling that by telling people, look, just tell them what I just told you. Nowadays it's as important as ever as it is to have a website. In the past, Facebook was enough, but when the AIs are looking for companies to suggest when they answer people's questions, they have to scan a website. That's where they're getting the information. So if you don't have a website, you're not going to get scanned, and you have a lot less chance of one of the AIs answering someone's question and using your company as the example, right? That's fear of loss. They're afraid they're not going to get the job. They're afraid, you want them to be afraid the chat is not, the AI is not going to mention them in the search engines. So that's what fear of loss is, right? I'm sure you've seen that all the time. So keep your eyes open, pay attention for these. The next one is greed. People are greedy. Hold on one second here. Who are you? No. Um, People are greedy. People will buy something just because, I hope you can still hear me with my phone ringing. It'll stop. Um, People are greedy. People will buy something just because they see other people buying it, even if they don't really care too much about it, right? Um, even even if they don't need it. Like I've got a pair of these barefoot shoes, right? But when I see the buy one get two pairs free, I still think, should I get another one? And no, I don't need another one, but I still think that, right? Oh, there's only one more day for the sale. That's a good price. Spending money on something that's a good price, just because it's a good price, even if you don't need it, isn't really frugal, right? It's not the best thing to do, but is what we as marketers learn. We want to get our clients to have that feeling, right? Get them to be greedy. So, and all of these kind of blend together. You're going to see that as we go, right? These five impulses. But greed, you do that by mentioning other people. You want people to just feel greedy, like, oh, I gotta have that. I gotta have that. A good way to do that in our instance is by talking about competitors, right? Talking about, you don't want your competitor to take jobs. A great thing to talk about when you're having communication with people is that they're running ads, and if they don't answer the phone, the person calls their competitor. So, Mr. Attic Insulation Guy, you're spending a lot of money to run ads on Google and Facebook. Someone's going to see your ad, call you. You're not going to answer for whatever reason, and then they're going to call your competitor. And you even gave them the idea to call in the first place. Your ad is what made them interested in getting new insulation in their attic, and now they're going to your competitor, right? So do you see what I mean? How that works? They're greedy. I don't want him to get the job. I want to get the job. Um, and I'll give you more examples about how these work together, like how greed and fear of loss work together, right? So, someone's afraid they're going to lose the deal. Therefore, it makes them more greedy. They'll buy something they don't need just because they're afraid they're going to lose the deal, right? So they work together. Um, the next one is sense of urgency. Anytime you give a special offer, you should have a deadline to it. And that's something we don't do real well. Right? And I'll admit that. Like, um, maybe we should have maybe we should have a little bit of a different special offer every month. And if you sign up with us this month, you get this. If you have us build you a free website this month, it comes with a chat widget. Or if you have us build a special website this month for you, we're going to buy 10 meals for the poor, or something like that, right? Sense of urgency means you got to get it done now. There's a sense of urgency. Get this done quick, friends. Or else, you see how they all work together. Get this done quick, or you're going to miss out, and the other guy is going to get it. They all work together, but you word these all a little bit differently. The best ads mention all of these. They trigger all five of these senses in you while you're reading or listening or learning or whatever it is. So sense of urgency, basically, you always want to have a deadline, right? Like the shoes example, first the deadline was July 4th. At the end of the July 4th, they go back to $80 a pair. You can't get three pairs for the price of one. And then, of course, July 5th, we extended the sale. It's only good through midnight. But I opened that page on my website in case I decided to buy them before midnight. And I left it open. And I didn't buy them because I don't need them. But that's what sense of urgency is. Get it done quickly. There's a reason to do it now. and not wait. There's a reason not to think about it. If you can give somebody a reason not to think about it, to take action today, that's what sense of urgency is, a deadline. And then the next one is association. And association is you talk about other people wanting it. And association and greed are very similar, right? But association is when you, in other words, you might call it name dropping. Maybe you're talking to Joe's dog grooming, and you could mention, well, Mary's dog grooming had us do this for them. So that's what association is. When you're writing an ad, when you're writing a sales letter, when you're DMing somebody or writing an email, you want to mention that other people are using it, right? I know I'm repeating myself now, but they all work together. Like the association, if they know somebody else wants it or someone else uses it, it makes them greedy. So that's why it's important to mention reviews and things like that. And it's going to go really good with something I'm going to talk about in a couple minutes when I talk about selling one to many instead of selling one to one. And then the last one, it might be the hardest, but sometimes it's the most important. And I mean, they're all important because they work together, but indifference. And what I mean by indifference is you want the people you're talking to think you don't give a damn if they take your free website. You could care less if they ever listen to your free AI, your AI demo, whatever you're selling. You don't care at all if they ever buy from you, because you have so many other people buying from you that you don't need their sale, and that's hard to do. You can't. I guess you could come out and say it, say, look, we're only doing 30 websites this month and we've already got 24 of them done. And so it's not really up to you. You take it or leave it. I don't care. That's what indifference is. And this works subconsciously to you for salespeople too. When you're selling, when you're marketing, it's really easy to feel desperate. And believe me, I know the feeling, right? And commission doesn't help, right? And I know that, but when you can have an attitude where you really don't care, when you're selling a lot, like, it's just easy to not care. It's easy to be indifferent. When you're struggling, it's hard not to care. And, but that's what indifference is it's in a subtle way, letting the person you're pitching or selling to or writing an email for or an ad, it's letting them know that, take it or leave it. It's up to you. It's all right, on our side. Because when people sense that the easiest way to turn someone off, maybe this is also a good way to describe indifference. The easiest way to turn somebody off that you're selling to is to act desperate. They can smell it oozing out of your pores. When I've done a lot of face-to-face sales, I used to sell hot tubs, jacuzzis. They weren't technically jacuzzis, but I'd go to someone's house, I'd sit down at their kitchen table, we'd talk for an hour, and I'd walk out with a $10,000 check for a hot tub. If I seemed desperate, it would kill the sale. I would pack up everything and say, all right, sorry. I'd pack everything up and start leaving it. They'd stop me. Wait, we're not sure. Oh, okay. And you got them at that point, right? It's kind of like fishing. But so the 5 of these, they all work together, right? If you can let's just go down the list: fear, loss, greed, sense of urgency, association, and indifference. If somebody you're selling to or a sales letter you're writing, you're doing some copywriting, if you can get people to think, well, I better get this because I'm missing out on something if I don't, and everyone else is getting it, but I got to make my decision now because so-and-so got it, and if it's good for them, it's got to be good for me. And this, and they don't even care if I take it because they're selling so fast. That's how you kind of roll the whole package into one. The best salespeople don't close. And, I know if you've ever studied sales, you've been told over and over, you gotta close. You gotta close. You gotta ask for the sale. Well, does that sound fair enough? Or, it's a limited time sale. I've only got so many of these left. Are you ready to take a step forward or something like that? The best salespeople, they don't ever have to close, because they use these impulses well enough that people just buy from them. By the time they've done their presentation or read their sales letter or whatever it is, they've used these things well enough that people are just ready to buy. And I guess a good way is to never be pushy. When you're pushy, you turn people off. I used to say, you can't push a string. You can only pull a string, right? If you laid a string down on the table, you can't push it. You can only pull it. And that's the same way it kind of is when you're selling. When you're talking to a prospect or writing, doing some copywriting or making an ad, you want to do it in a way that it pulls them along and it doesn't push them. So that's the impulses, and I hope that that's helpful to you guys. I'm going to start being more aware of it in our, when I write, and you'll notice it in the scripts I write. You will see it, but most of the scripts we write for a quick DM or a short email, they're not real long, so we don't use all of these. But these are things that you're more likely to use in your back and forth conversation with people, and you won't have to close once you become a master at using the impulses. So